see like a guy and a girl making out in front of a train station, like, oh, they're probably leaving, how romantic, you know, they won't see each other. But like, if you're like conservative, you see two men.
Think
like,
about the children. I mean. Will you be my gay best friend?
No. No, I won't. First off.
Yeah. Has that actually been asked to either of you?
I had that at I think it was my grad mass from secondary school. There was a girl who I had never talked to at all from the whole years of secondary school. And at the grad mass, she had a few drinks in her, and she came up to me and she's like, would you be my gay best friend?
No.
And she was like, honest, like, I barely knew her name yet. And I literally was like, I had a few drinks in me. I was celebrating finally being done school. I just looked at her and I think I laughed. I was like, what the fuck?
Like, how else do you respond to that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. I suppose the only kind of situation where it's more like it hasn't been said, but it's like, you know, you come out.
It's been inferred.
You come out, and it's only then that people kind of gain an interest in you, like to pick up their tokens.
To go shopping with. Oh my god, the amount of times I've been asked to go shopping with people.
I hate shopping.
But see, that's the thing. I like shopping, so it's like, oh, okay, I'll come. I guess. You know, I'm not gay. I guess. Like, I mean, in my group of friends now, I think we're all gay.
Yeah.
I think if we had a straight friend, it would be abnormal.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like, oh, there's Killian. He wears a God jersey. It's very alternative. You know what I mean? And I think people do have good intentions asking this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's this weird thing. It's like, oh, I'm, you know, a straight, cisgendered, heterosexual. Oh, there's a gay person. Let me reach out to them and kind of be like, oh, I'd like to be your friend. But if it's done very, like, kind of that forward, it comes off a bit insensitive.
Yeah.
And tokenization.
Definitely.
Yeah, my name is Patrick Flynn. Patrick. Also known as Titty Beefcake and Drag. I'm 25. I'm Australian Irish. And I moved here when I was 12. And yeah, like, I'm a queer artist, you know, trying to like promote queer spaces, and I do a lot of that with a small collective of like other queer friends called the House of She, and we before the pandemic we used to arrange kind of like queer events around Limerick City.
At least you can hide being queer, unlike race.
Yeah. No, very true.
Like, you can't hide race. That's something that is very, you know, as soon as you see someone, you can kind of gauge their race, gauge their nationality or ethnicity. But with queerness, you can't hide it, but there is things that queer people do to kind of like blend or pass.
Yeah.
Like, I naturally kind of sit with a bit of a flair, and I have a bit of a limp wrist, or I'm a bit more feminine than a lot of people I know. But I remember growing up, I used to kind of like monitor every action.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, oh no, I have to sit like this and talk like this, and like no one's gonna know nothing, and like, you know, and kind of, you know, play the part and fit in, and that's not good for your mental health. Do you know what I mean? Always constantly playing the part of a masculine straight man, or, you know, you can hide it, but for me personally, I found it very difficult to hide it. Like, I've been called gay or whatever, you know, whatever F slurs since I was like 5. Do you know what I mean? So before I even knew what gay was.
Yeah.
So you can hide being gay, but I do find like straight people, they're always, I don't know, especially like they can kind of see through it, I felt.
Yeah. There is queer people who would present and feel comfortable in a more straight passing way.
It's almost like respectability politics. It's like, let's not be too gay. Let's kind of tone it down for the straights.
Yeah.
Tone it down for the straights, ew.
Yeah. But it is like...
But
like,
I know.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like, there's that huge range of comfortability. Like, you've got the mix of respectable politics coming in, wanting to hide who you are. And then there's also, like, bits of you that are like... But some of me is like more conservative in my dress, or reserved, I should say, in my dress. My name is Kevin Hussey. I'm 21 years old. I'm a native of Limerick County, just maybe 10 kilometres outside Limerick City. I grew up in a very heteronormative space. Like, while I feel like the people in my life would have been open to sexual diversity and gender diversity, I myself as a child didn't feel that.
We are able to hide ourselves, unlike
Yeah.
people of color.
Yeah.
And that can sometimes be okay in a very straight setting, and you feel unsafe, and you can,
Yes.
try and butch it up a bit, with
Yeah.
your shoulders back, and
Yeah.
but people of color don't have that same privilege of blending into whiteness the same way we are able to blend into straightness at times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a bit more nuanced than this question might make it out to be.
And I feel like it's almost viewing them as separate things that don't overlap.
That
like
don't-
I feel
yeah.
like, okay, what about people who are both queer and another race, and also people whose like queerness is only queerness within like the white construction of binary genders. So like their queerness is sort of tied to like their culture, but like is it queerness if it's part of their culture? It's only queerness because of colonialism. I don't know where I'm going with this. My name is Koo Buchanan Caldwell. I'm 19 years old. I'm a student. I'm studying art. I would kind of do a lot of digital art, and I would be inspired by a lot of like fin de siècle, like turn of the century artists, as well as like William Morris and stuff.
Are queer men more sexually active? I would say no,
Yeah.
because there's less of us.
Yeah. No, exactly.
There's less of us.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find people.
Yeah. Like I feel it's very much coming from a place of how the heteronormative space sees queer people. Like there's like the demonization of the AIDS victims, or HIV victims.
HIV/AIDS.
Yeah. And then I suppose now there is quite a lot of over-sexualization in like the public presentation of queer spaces, but
look at straight people. They have Love Island.
exactly.
Have you ever been outside Molly's at 2 a.m. when you've got like two straight couple eating a curry cheese chips and making out at the same time? Like straight people are wild. They're crazy. They need to be stopped. Like you don't see gay people doing that. Like first of all, it wouldn't be. I don't know how safe or how conscious a queer person would be to, publicly display their affections, and it has historically been quite difficult, especially for queer men, gay men, to meet up. It used to be illegal in Ireland until 1993. I think it was passed into law in 94. And they had anti-buggering laws. There was no, as they used to call it, buggery. Yes, the anti-buggery laws that were in Ireland, and it was very difficult. I mean, especially outside of cities, outside of Limerick, outside of Dublin, for gay men to meet. And I think because of that social taboo, the only way we could meet up really was just for a hookup. This is like in the 90s and 80s, just for a hookup.
Yeah.
And that's it, because it's unsafe to maintain.
Unsafe to
Yeah, I mean
maintain.
you can't. You can't date. You can just sort of like cruise and then go back to your day job and hope no one saw you.
And so exactly.
And I think the queer community and the gay community is still coming out of that repression.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the older gays or whatever, they come from a different culture, they come from a different time,
Yes.
they come from a different legality period.
A different way of understanding
Yes.
themselves. Like, I mean, for most of life, you're said that something that is integral to you, that you've come through lengths to come to accept in yourself, is illegal, and then you've got the moral implication of
Catholic
it's
guilt.
wrong, and it's you're coming from such a different space of mind that you're so nervous, afraid to maintain contact with anyone else who you might feel is like you, because you've got this kind of thing of, well, as you say, what if someone sees me? Coming out was a kind of an experience that I don't want to use the word traumatic because I feel that's a little bit too strong, but it was certainly definitely a fight against everything that I saw as normal. But then I suppose when I did come out to myself and then to the world around me, I found a very accepting space that I suppose I wasn't expecting.
I think part of that is also like the very different standards
Mhm.
for what is sexual and what is appropriate.
Yeah.
Because if you see like a guy and a girl making out in front of a train station, like, oh, they're probably leaving, how romantic, you know, they won't see each other. But like if you're like conservative, you see two men.
Think
like,
about the children.
This
I
is
mean,
porn.
Yeah.
Straight people be like, oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
off the
people
scale.
like, oh, don't sexualize things. Oh, why are you always kissing and stuff? And then they ask their kids, oh, did you make a little boyfriend at school? Did you make a girlfriend? You know,
Yeah.
imposing heterosexuality on people, and they have no problem with it. But a little bit of gayness, a little bit of queerness, and some people do lose their minds, which makes no sense to me.
No, yeah. Like a lot of people who try to associate queerness with pedophilia. No, are we comfortable with discussing this? Or
Yeah.
will we yeah.
I think so.
Cool. That it's there's so many people who just cognate the two, and I know for me, as someone who grew up while the church scandals were all coming out, and also having that mix of being fed the Catholic ideology about homosexuality at school, that I had all of these many conflicted feelings about, like, because you hear the association of homosexuality and pedophilia from the source that is acting I'm trying to say this in a way that isn't offending anyone.
That has questionable priests.
Yes, that
questionable
has
priests.
Some individuals.
And nuns, some questionable nuns,
Yeah.
I will say.
It was a huge conflict for me to like that I would have been part of that mindset of, but I can't be queer around children. But I can't show that I'm gay around children. Not because you feed into that ideology of there's a similarity between
them
them.
gay.
Yeah.
Or you'll whatever. But I mean, just think
And
about
it's just
like
completely
how
honest.
much you would have appreciated like a gay teacher or just a gay someone in your life that was there to show you that a happy life is possible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Or even that it was possible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for a couple of years I was like, what the hell is happening to me? I'm not going through the like...
Where's my wife?
Yeah,
Where's
yeah,
my
yeah.
white picket fence?
You're not man enough.
In quotation marks.
Yeah, man.
But you're not masculine enough. You're not like, what is a man?
No, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
it's-
I mean, men don't like to admit it, but even men are diverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know, there's a whole spectrum of what a man can and cannot be, or
Mhm.
what they choose to be, or who they are.
Mhm.
Saying you're not man enough, like, what does that mean? You're not masculine enough. You're not heteronormative enough. You're too feminine, or
Yeah.
you're beyond the expectations that I have set upon you by.
Yeah.
It's just. It
Yeah.
doesn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah.
It might have hurt my feelings a lot maybe when I was younger. That definitely would have got me.
Definitely.
25? That means
Yeah,
nothing to
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
man enough. Okay, cool. I'm not trying to be a man. To be manly and butch and whatever. I'm just trying to be me.
Yeah.
Do you know
like,
what I mean?
In relation to that, like, you get a lot as a kid, like, man up. And it's like, I'm crying here.
Validate
How
my
is
emotions.
that helping me? No. Or,
It's invalidating.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And it, like, man up. Like, as a queer person, you're also like, are you saying something about me? You always feel like it's a little bit more layered.
Yeah.
Especially after you've come out, you're like, man up, and you're like, what are you trying to say exactly here?
Like
like,
gay men
certainly-
or women that
All
whatever.
this-
Or
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a whole
yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of misogyny mixed in with it, with
Yeah.
homophobia, and it just stinks to me.
Yeah.
It
I
is
mean-
a stinky.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's this whole idea of, like, gay men as, like, a third sex that was, like, popular in the Victorian era, and I don't think it's ever fully gone away.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, yeah.
It's all to do with society's understanding of what a man is.
Mhm.
And I think men are suppressed by their own expectations
completely.
on themselves. I mean,
Yeah.
there's lots of things going on, but if we're just talking about men in general, straight men and masculine culture, machismo culture,
Mhm.
I think is very toxic, even just to straight men, let
Yeah.
alone gay men, let
Oh,
alone,
definitely.
you know.
Actually, that's something. After coming out, I feel like while you are entering into coming out to yourself, a lot of it isn't like accepting the sexuality as per se, but it's more of like, the life that you're going to be living. You know that you are going to get those looks. You're gonna all the bullies were right. All those F-slurs, they got it right.
Yeah.
But I also felt like after coming out, you're able to let go of the power of you're not man enough or man up over you. It's you, like, you are able to let go of quite a lot of the expectations because you're like, yeah, cool, that doesn't apply to me. It doesn't have any power over me anymore because I'm already rejecting the expectation of being heterosexual.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, because I do try to pass, just to like avoid being misgendered because it sucks. The parameters for what is masculine dress is so narrow. I wear an orange jumper and I'm misgendered.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anything that isn't black, navy, or khaki green, they're like, oh, that's fruity. You know what I mean? Like, straight people are very, you know what I mean? If you want to blend into the greater society.
Men's section is...
The men's section is not very colorful, I'd say that.
No.
I think a lot of the time I'm just not read as a man, so I don't have a lot of experience being treated as a man. I'm more treated as, like, kind of masculinely dressed young woman, which... As a trans man, being told that you are inherently different from all other men, not that great, actually. I know how it's meant, but it's not that great.
But you still have male privilege.
Yes.
Yeah?
That is, yeah. That's something that I feel like isn't brought up in the queer community as much. I found. Like there's, like when you're coming up to the ages, I don't know, 13, 14, 15, and you're kind of discovering, oh, this is what I am. And like you're identifying with other groups that are also facing some forms of, like there's some similarities and overlaps between the marginalization. Yeah. I think queer men especially need to recognize the ways in which we still can and do dehumanize women especially.
You are gay, but you cannot touch her breasts.
Exactly.
That is a very common thing that I see with gay men. It's like, oh, I'm gay, I can touch your breast. No. And there's things that I've noticed, like when I go out with my cisgendered female friends or my female friends, you know, I notice that they do, you know, guys approach them and they can get creepy, and you know, I notice as a male, as somebody who has male privilege, I'm able to intercept that. I'm able to kind of separate people on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like if I'm out with a friend and she needs to walk home or walk somewhere, you know, she may not feel comfortable going by herself. I'm a gay man, but I'm still a man.
Yeah.
Or I'm still perceived as a male. And me walking along with her would make her feel safer going home at night. Yeah. So there is different things that, like, yes, I'm gay, and yes, there is things, but I still have that male sense of privilege that women aren't afforded, unfortunately. You do drag. Me. Do you want to be a woman? This is a very interesting question because, you know, the gender is such a big thing in society and it's how we express ourselves. But there is a big distinction between a trans identity and doing drag. You know, like, I don't identify as trans. I mean, it's weird because I am kind of going into gender and looking into being not being non-binary, but looking into the non-binary lifestyle. And I just have too much respect for the trans community to start being like, oh, I'm non-binary trans when I'm still, you know, I'm 25. I'm still figuring shit out. Like, just being honest, like, I'm still working through stuff and I'm still examining stuff.
It's a journey.
Life's a journey.
And it's always gonna be. Nothing is fixed, you know?
No.
And then people like take that and you like say like, oh, gender is fluid, you know, sexuality is fluid, and like, oh, so you'll turn straight.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I know, it's when we really start breaking all these things down, it's like, what is anything? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't fit into anything, and I fit into everything. You know what I mean? When you really break this down, like, I mean, I don't identify as a trans woman. I don't live most of my life as trans. I live my life just as this, as Patrick. But come to one of my shows, you'll see Titty Beefcake, and, you know, she's beautiful. She's got her nice wig down, and, you know, her face is beat, but, like,
woo!
I know!
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean I want to live my day-to-day life as a woman, as a trans woman.
Yeah.
But I mean, catch me in 5 years, we'll see where I'm at. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm one of those people that's always indecisive and working with myself, and you know.
Titty Beefcake, she's like my drag persona, kind of like an alter ego. She's me when I'm all dressed up in a nice wig, face beat, you know, what's it called, cincher, what's it called, corset on, you know. She's like a, you know, and then she's just like how I can express the more feminine parts of myself, because I used to identify as like fully just like a gay man. Like when I came out, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a gay man. This is like when I was 15 or 16. And like now that I'm 25, I'm kind of like really exploring gender, and I'm exploring femininity, masculinity, and like things that society told me I couldn't do. And like Titty Beefcake kind of like was like a kind of a way of knocking down barriers to explore more feminine aspects of Patrick. So Titty helps Patrick, Patrick helps Titty, and yeah.
What is like something that you want to love to see change in society?
I think almost this like virgin whore complex that like queer men are either horrible, dangerous sexual predators, or they're innocent, sweet, and soft, and will just go shopping with you. You know, never even seen a penis. You know?
Yeah.
But like it is this virgin whore dichotomy.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, even look at the three of us. We all present very differently. We are all using different masculine expressions.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose that everyone is different. Every queer man is different.
For sure.
Everyone has a different understanding of what queer is and what a man is. And
we're a very small sample size.
And,
amplify that by how many more people, and you'll really see the true diversity of just being of just the gay men.
Yeah.
There's a lot of diversity there, let alone the rest of the LGBT community.
I want to be seen for who I am, and all of who I am.
I'm a guy. I use he, him pronouns, but I am not particularly soft. I am very uncomfortable with being told I'm specifically not like any other guy someone has ever known.
Once you find good people, you're in good hands. That's what I'll say. And it just takes a while to find those people and to find a sense of community. And once you find that, you know, self-love kind of follows.